all his citizens to come and watch and also do some archery. So the only thing he had as message is 70 meters is what they will shoot, and for him 8 meters was too far. So we'll see how the rest of the population will do as such. So if I have a presentation of, thank you. So I would like to remind you of a world where everyone has the opportunity to make the important Olympic sport of archery their elite or recreation activity of choice. That is still what we aim for to achieve. Are we there? I don't think so, but it's on the right track. Our mission as archery is to empower you, the member associations, to make archery a leading sport in nations around the world. That is our role, to assist you to become better, because without you, we cannot grow further. Our president mentioned his report, the challenges or the differences between our World Archery events and some of the continental events, and that's a very good example of that we cannot improve if the whole family doesn't improve. So we are there to help you and to empower you to improve. You might remember we had presented to you in Mexico the 5 Ps: priorities, products, promotion, partnerships, and processes. It's time to see where we are and see how much progress we made in those Ps. The priorities was never given a specific deadline, but more and more we realize, and also when I referred this morning to the report of Azoif on the role of the IFs, it is absolutely necessary if we want to make breakthroughs. Solid focus and emphasis need to be placed on certain activities. We have to set priorities. We have to determine what we do and what we don't do. So there's no specific deadlines for this particular item, but we have to set certain milestones to measure the success of the plan. We look at the products. We are still continuing looking at strategy on core and non-core events. We have started to use the World Archery Excellence Center, as Juan Carlos explained this morning, as a central tool for our development. Doesn't mean that we only do development in the center. We do much more activities outside of the center. But it is our central tool for development. We want to increase World Archery events, although that's becoming more difficult because we're reaching every time a higher level. The World Archery Europe, World Archery Oceania, World Archery Americas, World Archery Asia, World Archery Africa, and World Archery member association events. And there is still a lot to be done. However, we see fantastic examples among some of you in the hall. I refer, for instance, to the finals of the German championships that were held last year in Wiesbaden. And this year, they are part of a program of many combined championships in Germany, where television will come with high-level production and will make a weekend of German championships. And archery is one of the members, one of the sports used and shown there. So we want to see more and more of these developments. We see a development in France with a new team competition, very similar to what they're doing in Davis Cup. We have single matches, team matches, and so on and so on. So we want to move more and more at all levels. At world level, we already did it, from competition to events. But this has to happen more at national level. Formalize the goal of 45% of female participation. We will see here, we're not at 45% yet. And we want 33% of female membership in bodies of the archery family. This is not only a wish from us, it's from the IOC. But what archery has been very clear, and our Gender Equity Committee is also very clear on this, We don't want quotas. We want the best people. We don't want quotas. 50% gender balance in the international technical officials. That's done. Was done in Rio, was done in Buenos Aires, is done here. That is a real mission to our judge committee, and also the judge committee has worked very hard on having more women as international judge, and it's really on the right track. So thank you, Sergio, and the entire committee for helping us on this. Promotion. Increase TV audiences and long-term relationship with major broadcasters on all platforms and across all continents. I've clearly shown in my report this morning that this is something that has been achieved. Is it good enough? No. We need to work harder. We need to do more. But we can say that this is an element that we have done. Establish World Archery as a role model and innovator in all domains, including in cooperation with the Olympic Channel. Again, we were the first federation to sign with the Olympic Channel. We're working very well with them, and we continue to be innovator. We will, here in the championships, test the measurement of the heart rate through cameras, without putting anything on the athlete, with Panasonic. If the test is successful here and in a test event, we will be the only sport in Tokyo that measures heart rate or any other factors on the athletes. Again, an example of where we innovate in comparison with others. We want to increase the exploitation of digital media and social networking in the top 10. Are we there? No. We're close, but we're not there yet. Design, implement an ambassadors and role model program, work in progress. Continue to promote archery as an elite sport and sport for all ages and ability, which is great, it is clean and a great promoter of the Olympic values. It's part of our genes. Yes, we're doing this. And a strategy with clear links between competitive archery and activities in movies, commercials, etc. It's happening. Can we say it's already 100% achieved? Not yet, but we're working on it. Now, partnerships. Implementing a strategy to secure more medal events at all major games, including mixed team events for both recurve and compound. Well, we are there. We have Tokyo mixed team event. We have compound in most continental games, and we have now, for the first time, archery in all 5 continental events. Asia, Americas, Europe, Pacific Games for Oceania, and for the very first time, Africa. And I thank Ala Gabra, as President of World Archery Africa, for helping us achieving this. Stronger cooperation with the archery industry and the Continental Association. Well, ATA is here. We're working constantly with ATA. We work more and more with the Continental Associations as well. Secure inclusion in all major continental games. Done. We can put a checkbox. Develop a more streamlined cooperation coordination with Continental Association. Assist in the professionalization of their structure and offices. In some we've done it, in others still to be done. Developing a career path for World Archery officers and staff to guarantee continued supply of capable persons in the sport of archery. Definitely work in progress. And improve the attractiveness of the bidding process of all of our events and secure bids for all events 4 years in advance. Definitely still work in progress. We have bids for all the events that are needed, but we should have more bids. So we need to see how we can make it more attractive. Process. Implement Agenda 2020 in all aspects, especially in terms of good governance. Today, at the end of the day, we should be able to tick the box. Clean sport, together with ITA, with CAS, with WADA, we're on the right track. And also, with the work we will discuss this afternoon and tomorrow on safeguarding, again, very important. Uphold sustainable and financial stability. Yes, work in progress. Establish a service-oriented culture throughout all the components of the archery family. We have a workshop on membership services here. It is very important that there again, World Archery assists you, member associations, to achieve a service-oriented culture. And we'll get some great examples from some of you in those workshops. And promote gender equity across all domains. The promotion we're already doing, achieving it, we're not there yet. Okay, remember Mexico. Who was in Mexico? Lift your hand. Who remembers what in the envelope? Good. All the other ones, you'll see. We haven't opened them. We kept our promise. We have no idea what you put in the envelope. We brought them, and you will get them during the workshops. So, up to you to evaluate if you've done what you promised you would do over the 2 years. Okay. That's my update on the strategic plan. I think I now invite Lars Auers Petersen to give you his view on where we are.
My friend, as you know very well, we are working together with Lars for many years, especially related to our Archery World Plan.
Thank you, President. Thank you, Tom.
Welcome, Lars.
Thank you. Very good to be here. And
maybe you can inform my colleagues about your new title.
Oh, yeah.
New company.
Yeah.
Change the name of the company.
Because of the success of working with World Archery, we could sell our company. You know? So we changed. We sold the company to a very big listed company called WPP, and we are called Burson, Cohn and Wolf. I can explain maybe a little more in the workshop, but I just wanted to warm you up quick for the workshops and why I think the president and the leadership agree, why they are really important. And let me just take you back quickly. I know I have only like 3 minutes, but to Singapore, summer 2005, outside the meeting hall of the IOC session. This is a long time ago, 2005, where I met with the president and with Tom. And we were, whew, it was already warm.
But please mention one thing. I was president just for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. And it could have been the first and the last weeks. Because during that meeting, which was over when we met and we were like, whew, the IOC voted out baseball and softball from the Olympic program, and there was really, I would not say expectations, but fears that they could have voted out your sport. Nobody knows, as far as I know, the exact voting numbers, but apparently it was a bit close. And then, so of course there was a great relief, and the president, as he said, was just in office for 2 weeks. It could have been a not so good start, having his sport voted out. So the president said, Tom, Lars, this is the last time we will ever have to worry about being an Olympic sport. This is over. And then what happened? And 2 things happened, I think. One very good thing and a little more challenging thing. The good thing was that after that meeting in 2005 and over the next, till now, but let's say the first 10 years, your sport lifted as a rocket on international Olympic level. Everything changed. You moved up as one of the few sports in history, I think, moved category in Olympic Games. You became, I think, 12 out of 25, 6 sport in London. Your president became member of the IOC and a leading member, vice president, and one of the most important people in international sport. You built a big archery world center, and I don't know what. So that's all good. On the other hand, it's also I cannot say it's a problem, but it's a challenge, I think, because of all that success on Olympic national level, the pressure on archery as a sport on national level is increasing. Your Olympics, your national Olympic committees of all your countries will start to expect more from archery, more from you. And while we have really developing very fast here, we also see development on national level. It's for sure there we have to focus. We have to be careful not to have too big distance between Olympic, international, and national, a little in line with what Tom mentioned. So that's where we have to focus, and that's where we will today do what is the easiest thing, and doesn't cost money, and probably one of the most effective things. We just have to share good ideas. We don't have to ask the president and the leadership for a lot of extra money in development. I'm sure you would like to do it, but you will never have enough money. Next week, there is a congress, like your congress, in FIFA football, where all members will complain that they need more than the 200,000 Swiss francs per year get from FIFA. So money, you will never have enough. We can do with much less if we can just exchange ideas. I think it's the best way, it's the most efficient way, and do it right here. So later in the afternoon, we will have the 4 workshops, and you get some input from archery people, from myself. But I think the most important objective of those workshops is to further stimulate this culture among all of you of exchanging ideas. Many of the challenges, issues you have in your federation, they have exactly the same challenges in other federations. And maybe they have some solutions. We know it's all different, it's different cultures, it's different financial situations, it's different everything around the world, but it's still archery. So there is many more similarities than there's differences. So I hope you will all come to those workshops and that you will listen and that you will talk. So see you out there. Let the good things continue. Thank you, President.
Thank you very much, Lars. My dear friends, now we come to one of our interesting or boring part of the meeting session, motions. I give the floor our Secretary General again.
Thank you, President. Just to warm up everyone, and since we want to make sure that the lunch was not too heavy, we will do a test vote again before we go into the motions and decide, which I don't think you already had, but the President mentioned very clearly in his speech, in his report, is the Bosche Bowl a dessert? Yes, no, or abstention? Okay. If you've walked around in Bos, you probably saw it in all of the cafes on the menu. So the voting is open if the Bosche Bowl is a dessert or not.
Otherwise, this is in Africa. Double S.
Okay, so have you explored Dutch cuisine already enough to know the answer? I have 64 votes already. So some people had apparently too heavy lunch. Okay, there's some problem. So if you have an issue, please indicate. We're 74. We hope we didn't lose too many people during lunch. We're at 75. Yeah. 76. Anyone has a specific problem? I see Andrea is still around. And Thomas as well. Now, Gwen, this is a test vote afterwards, no filming, huh? I know you want to be creative, but no. 76. Okay. Anyone has an issue? 77. I see some empty spaces of people that were here this morning, so probably some people have gone. So anyone has an issue with that 77? I see Italy has a small issue. Spain, is that resolved? Dominican Republic, okay, it's the proxy. We're at 78. Otherwise, replace the PDA. It's an issue. Okay, we're going to quickly replace the PDA. So it seems we will have lower percentage of voting than this morning, and some people seem to have left. So let's see if we can get Dominican Republic scanned in. Yeah, it's because there's the Congress, the motion presentation afterwards, we will show it, of course. 79. So I suppose that's the one. Okay, anyone else? Then it's okay? Fine. We'll close the vote. And we show the results. And 46 people already, I think, tried, because yes, it is dessert. It's not to lose weight. Okay? It's nice, but not to lose weight. Okay. So we had 80 people voting. We think there is 5 people that have left. No one indicated the problem. So for the scrutineers, everything is okay to go ahead? Yes? Okay. Good. So then we go to, can I have the slide of the motions? Okay, the first motion is about governance. We talked already quite a bit about governance. It's about good governance principles. As we discussed it also with the ASOEF working group or task force on good governance. And I don't think I have to remind you that it can cause serious damage to reputation if there is no good governance as such. As an example, IBA. In the motion, there is some bylaws that we also need to do. Of course, those bylaws have not been approved. It's not the Congress to approve them. The Executive Board will have their traditional meeting after the end of the Congress to approve any bylaws linked to motions. What are the main changes? There is quite a lot of editorial changes, or movement of certain things, or clarification of things. There is a clear definition of what is independence, what is interest, what is a conflict of interest. We updated the objectives of World Archery. We included the Athletes' Charter that was created by the IOC. There is staggered elections now in all committees and boards. There will be some independent members in those boards. We create an electoral board. That electoral board will look at things like, are the candidatures valid? Are the proxies valid? What happens if there is something particular? There is a weighted voting based on minimum activity. The idea behind this is that all the people in this hall will get more voting rights. It's not to make a difference, but the ones that are active will get more voting rights. And the last one is one that some people might be a little bit afraid of, but you shouldn't, is the introduction of term limitations. Term limitation is something that is there to guarantee that there is enough people giving it a chance to be active in our sport. But this term limitation, as we propose it, will allow everyone that wishes to run in this Congress or the next Congress, independent even a certain number of years in a certain position. After that Congress, the term limitation will be in effect, but again, it doesn't stop someone from staying involved in the archery family. He just might have to share his experience in another position, which we think will be very beneficial for all of the family. Because someone with a judge background might, for instance, have a very good input in a Constitution and Rules Committee or in a field committee. So this is not something you should be afraid of. And like I said very clearly, no one running for election here or next time will be touched by this in any way. Okay, so this is a motion that was presented by the Executive Board. There was an amendment also by the Executive Board to clarify, because there was a text, the text was not 100% clear on the term limitation. We feel that this is an item that should be taken as a block. We discussed it with some of you in the conference call I had some weeks ago. None of them felt it was necessary to split the actual text. So on that matter, we proposed, the Executive Board proposed that it is voted in block. If we have to split it, it will take a long of time, and also there is certain things linked to each other. If we talk about the definition of interest, and we later talk about conflict of interest, if we don't do it in a block, it will not work. So, based on that, are there any questions on this motion? That doesn't seem to be the case. Okay. Then, this is a motion of constitution, so we need a 2/3 majority of the votes expressed. That clear to everyone? Good. Then we will open the motion for vote. Do you accept the governance motion? The vote is open. Thank you. Okay, is there anyone who has a problem with the voting? That doesn't seem to be the case. Then I'm going to close the vote. Please close the vote. And you have accepted with a very large majority this motion on governance. I think this is a very good sign that World Archery is about good governance. Thank you. We now go to the second motion on also a motion, no, it's proposed by CNR. It is basically, we feel, together with the CNR committee, that there is a need for certain policies and procedures. An example of that is a safeguarding policy and procedure, or a team officials policy and procedure, where you don't have the place in the rule book to go into rules and so on. So it is mainly for practical things where a rule or a bylaw is not the most appropriate. So that's why CNR proposed that we define this and that we give it the same legal status as a bylaw. So basically, Executive Board will accept them, and then at the next Congress, like for bylaws, if there is an issue, you can raise it, you can discuss it, and you have your final say. So in no way we're taking anything away from Congress, we just add the possibility of creating policies and procedures. Any questions on this? Doesn't seem to be the case. We can then open the vote. Okay, we're getting close to the end. Anyone has an issue? Doesn't seem to be the case. Then we can close the vote. And again, you have accepted this motion. Okay, we go to the next one. The next motion, as you might recall, some years ago, for ones that have been here as long as I have, we had every Congress decisions on shooting rules. And at a certain moment, some of you felt that it was too much changes in too short time. What most people were worried about at that time was changes to the shooting rules for basically what was happening at the Olympics and the related World Championships. The intention was never to stop the progress of new events. And this is something we have run into currently with the non-Olympic events, where, again, coming to the role of IFs that I mentioned this morning, and where you need to have an entrepreneurial approach and so on, you need a certain flexibility. And therefore, there is a motion on the table that for Olympics, and there is an amendment, Paralympic disciplines, and we fully understand that that should be added. We would open the door for shooting rules to be changed in those other disciplines. So field and 3D, indoor, run archery, whatever archery. Okay? That is the idea, that this Congress also can make decisions on that. Now, I want to be very clear. We will first decide on the amendment that puts in the Paralympic side. Then we'll vote on the motion. And then we will vote on this motion coming into effect. This motion, if we do not put it in effect immediately, on condition that it's approved, we can remove everything after motion 10 from the agenda, because those are shooting rules. Is that clear to everyone? RGB wants to say something about the amendment, or I've been clear enough on that? Okay. So the first thing we'll vote on is the amendment of Archery GB to add Paralympic rules to it. That's the first decision. And then we will vote on amended. So the first question, do you accept the amendment on motion 3, which basically says add Paralympic and not only Olympic rules? Clear? Vote is open. Okay. We're getting close. Anyone has an issue? Doesn't seem to be the case. Then we can close the vote. Okay. So you have accepted the amendment. So now we will vote on the amended motion 3. So our Congress will decide on Olympic and Paralympic rules only the Congress after the Games, and on other discipline events we can decide every Congress. That is amended motion that is up for vote as soon as we need to open the vote for that. And it is clear and ready to go. The vote is open. Anyone has an issue? Doesn't seem to be the case. Then we can close the vote. Okay, the result is quite clear. You want to vote on your papers. Now, to do that, we have to accept, and this by a show of hands, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Do you accept that this motion comes into effect immediately now? Please raise if you agree with this. Okay, abstentions? None? Against? None? Unanimous. Thank you. So, this means that we will be able to deliberate on motion 10 and onwards. Okay, next motion. As you know, at the moment, we have Congress can only be hosted prior to the World Championships. That is in our current constitution. Now, we've had many requests from World Cup final candidates to organize a Congress combined with a World Cup final, which would make it much more attractive from a, I would say, economic impact to do the World Cup final. We have even a specific request at the moment on the table. Unfortunately, Ukraine is not present here. But as you know, in 2021, we will have our 90th anniversary, and the city of Lviv, or Lov, depending on how you want to pronounce it, that is now Ukraine, which used to be Poland, wants to organize the World Cup final and the Congress. However, they cannot do the World Championships according to. So there is a specific reason as well that we ask this matter, but it is basically up to when we decide, when we have the candidatures of a World Championship and a World Cup final, to decide if we do it in one or the other. That is the proposal that is on the table. Are there any questions on this? Doesn't seem to be the case. Then we can open the vote. Do you accept the motion on Congress being organized at the World Cup final or the World Championships? The vote is open. Anyone has a problem with the vote? Doesn't seem to be the case. Is it? Okay. We can close the vote. And you have accepted by 68 votes that we can organize it with the World Championships or the World Cup final. So you have accepted the motion very clearly. Okay, next motion. It was already in the text of the governance motion, but that was just to make the text complete. However, we will decide on it now. We want the athletes committee to be also a staggered election to ensure that there is a transfer of knowledge between the athletes committees. So basically what we want to propose is that the compound athletes are elected the year after the summer games, and the recurves are elected the year prior to the summer games. For the rest, there is no change on the numbers or anything else, but it guarantees there is a transfer of knowledge between athletes committee and makes it consistent with all our other committees. Any questions on that? Doesn't seem to be the case. So on this one as well, we will have to put it in effect immediately, because we have elections in 2 weeks from now, and it will have an effect on the term of the compound athletes. So, can we open the vote for the athlete committee staggered election? The vote is open. Anyone has an issue? Doesn't seem to be the case. We can close the vote. And you have clearly accepted this motion as well. Okay, next motion. This motion was put forward by CNR, but based on a proposal from Namibia. Oh, sorry. We have to still make the other one effect immediately before we go there. So do you agree with the raise of hands that we put the motion on the staggered election of athletes applicable immediately? Please raise your hand. Thank you. Okay, anyone against? No. Abstentions? No. Thank you. Okay. So, Namibia wrote with a proposal, that is proposal number 1, and they want to make it clear that coaches and judges have to be a member of their member association. Now, it's something that is so logical from the start, but it was never written in our rules. Sorry? You're skipping one, Tom. I'm skipping one. Yep. Oh, I want to go too quick. Sorry. Clarification on expulsion. Motion 6. Okay. This motion has been put in there to resolve issues that could arise in the future that are similar to what we could experience with the case of Senegal that we discussed before, where we could have the need to quickly reintegrate a member association because they're the host of an important event in their country, and we kicked them out for valid reasons before, and we would have to wait till the next Congress or whatever, and so on. So this gives us the flexibility to have, I would say, a fast-track procedure. We hope we never have to use it, but it clarifies the Constitution. So any question on that one? Doesn't seem to be the case. So if we can open the vote for the clarification on expulsion. The vote is open. Okay. Anyone is issue? No, all of them have voted. Please close the vote. And you have accepted this clarification. Thank you. Then, okay, then we go to motion 7. So I already explained what it is about. It is a logical thing, but it was not clear in our rules. Anybody has a comment or question on it? Doesn't seem to be the case. Okay, then we can open the vote. Vote is open. Okay, everyone has expressed his or her vote, no issue. We can close the vote. And we have clarified this matter. This automatically means that proposal 1 is no longer going to be discussed because it's talking about the same subject. Then the next one is also from Namibia, and it's also a proposal, and it was in relation to the good standing of judges, meaning that a judge should remain a member of his member association while he is accredited. That is basically, again, a clarification of something that is quite logical as such. Any questions on that one? No? Okay, can we have the vote open? The vote is open. Okay, seems to be an issue with one box. Okay, Andrea is fine? Okay. Seems someone came back. Drea, can you indicate everything? Okay, close the vote. And we have 80 yes. Whoa. One no. So we have one more vote. And on top of it, it was quite clear. Okay. Then we'll do the next one. And I would like to take the slides again first before we go into that one. Okay. This is the motion we tabled in Mexico. And one of the things that was made clear to us was that there was a need to clarify what the motion was about. So we have prepared a few slides to explain you what it's all about. So the World Indoor Championships, what we see is the number of participating countries decreasing. And the reason being that multiple countries do not fund non-Olympic formats, and now there is an alternative, which is the Indoor World Series. We also see that the number of participants are decreasing because people are focusing more on the outdoor season. As a direct result of that, the value of the World Championships title is decreasing. For example, in some team categories, 60% of teams obtained a medal. And it is difficult to find hosts, mainly because of low interest of countries. I can tell you, whatever we decide in the coming minutes, in 2020, we have passed the deadline, there will be no World Indoor Championships. Whatever we decide in the coming minutes. I want to be very clear on that, because it's just simply too late. So, this is what we see, a decreasing participation of the world indoor. We also see an increasing participation in the Indoor World Series. So, there is two solutions on the table at the moment, because Norway has informed us, and you please confirm Norway, they have withdrawn their amendment, correct? Yes? Okay. So there is also has been a discussion between Target Committee and Archery GB, and basically the conclusion is that Target Committee has changed what they have written in the amendment and supports the amendment of Archery GB. That doesn't mean that Congress has to follow it, but that's the situation as such. Now, we have prepared an explanation on what is the Indoor World Series, if you wish that we do it. Is it clear enough what the Indoor World Series are for everyone? Okay, we will still use the presentation then tomorrow, but we will not show it now. We'll show it tomorrow when we explain how the calendar looks like tomorrow, so we haven't done the presentation for nothing. Okay? Good. So, the procedure will be the following. We first talk about the amendments and vote on the amendment of Archery GB. The amendment of Archery GB is quite clear. We remove the World Indoor Championships from our rules. That's what it says. Okay? So we first vote on the amendment. Can we have the amendment on the voting screen, please? Can we open the vote? The vote is open. We're missing quite some votes. There's an issue there, Archery GB. Since they have the proposal of the amendment, they should be able to vote. And Kenny, you as well. Okay, everything seems to be okay. Then we can close the vote. This is only on the amendment, I want to be very clear. Okay, so the amendment has passed with 47 votes. Okay, so now we will vote on the amended motion, meaning what I actually said before, remove the World Indoor Championships from the rules. Clear to everyone? Okay. Can I open the vote? The vote is open. Anyone has an issue? Doesn't seem to be the case. Okay, then we're going to close the vote. And you have decided to remove the World Indoor Championships from the rules. 52 yes, 23 no. That is 2/3, the majority is 50. Two votes more than the majority. Because it's on the votes expressed. The abstentions don't count. Okay, yes? Microphone, please.
Just a question, because probably you will be right. You said 50% plus one. However, the removal indoor World Championships, it's set to third.
No, it's 2/3 majority because it's 78 votes. There were 3 abstentions. And if you remove the abstentions, the majority is 2/3 majority is 50. No, the abstentions do not count as votes cast. They count as votes cast, but do not count as part of the calculation of the majority. That's very clear in our rule book. Correct, Mark? Yes. We discussed it before, so yeah. Thank you. Then we go to the next one. And Hannah, give me a shout if you need to intervene on the field motions. Rotation of courses. So basically what this is about is that for the team rounds and the individual rounds, people do not shoot the elimination round on the same courses. Is there any question on that? We're talking about motion 10, so there's basically you rotate between courses on the teams. Any question? And if there is a question, I give the floor to Hannah, because she's much better to answer those than me. Doesn't seem to be the case. We can open the vote then. The vote is open. Okay, can we close the vote? And we accept the rotation of the courses. Now the next one is actually the courses for teams. The first one was on rotation of courses, now it's on the different courses for team. So, can we open the vote? Okay, we can close the vote. And that has been accepted as well. The next one, insert the mixed team for field and 3D. Before we go to the vote there, I will give the floor to the President because there was something in the motion that was not 100% clear. Okay, the President asked me to explain it to you. In the motion there was in the reasoning written that they want to also remove the junior team event to create space for the mixed team. And then that there would be a decision executive board on the exact program as such, but the idea was to remove the junior team because otherwise we need to add too many items to the schedule and we will never finish the championship. So we add 6 medals, but we remove 2 medals. So in the net operation will be 4. Now that was in the reasoning of the motion, but it was not in the actual text. So the President has agreed to use his prerogative as President to put compromise amendments to the floor of Congress so that the reasoning that was used becomes part of the actual motion. Is that clear from a procedural point of view? I think yes. So we will first vote on the amendment from the President. Can we have, that's not the right wording on the screen, so you have to change the wording. We have to say amendment from the President. So before you start voting, we will change the text. Is the amendment from the President that will remove the junior team? Okay. So can we have the vote open for the amendment? The vote is open. Okay. Anyone has an issue? Doesn't seem to be the case. We can close the votes. Okay, the vote, the results are clear. So now we will vote on the amended motion. So basically, introduce the mixed team, but remove the junior teams. Okay? So if we can get this on the screen. The vote will be open. Okay. Anyone has an issue? Doesn't seem to be the case. So if we can close the vote. And that has been accepted. Then the next one is motion 13. That is the need for a shoot-off for the first and second position in the elimination rounds. No, sorry, after the qualification rounds. Because the first and second position are critical in the new elimination format. So, any question on that one? Doesn't seem to be the case. If we can open the vote. Vote is open. Okay, we're going. Ah, an issue, an issue. Namibia. Okay, then we can close the vote. And we have 78 yes, that's accepted as well. The next one is a logical matter as well, since the elimination rounds are now televised, is to make it more clear what is allowed in terms of clothing for the elimination rounds. Any question on that one? No? Okay, the vote is open. Open the vote. Anyone has an issue? Doesn't seem to be the case. We can close the vote. And this one has been accepted as well. Thank you very much. The next motion is a motion presented by Slovenia, removal of the age limit for judges. Does Slovenia want to address this? Microphone to Slovenia, please.
Mr. President, dear participants, Slovenia put this motion on the Congress because they find that having a limit age for judges is a form of discrimination. And World Archery is in book number 1 constantly speaking about non-discrimination of gender, of religion, and so on and on. And now just for the smallest group of people within our family, they put an age of 65. And that's not correct. There are a few things why it's not correct. First of all, people that are old are after 65 not mentally ill. They just can perform. And that means also that when you put on 65, then a lot of experience is going away. We see also that people of 65 still can perform very well. I can say that I see people 20 years younger than me, that they are not performing at all. That's one. The second point is, that is what the Judges Committee was saying about this. The Judges Committee said people of old age are not fit. Probably they are then in a wheelchair, but I think it is not correct. Because when I see some tournaments field, then I see young judges that after a day, they are very tired, they immediately have to go to bed, because otherwise they will not cope the next day. That there will be a test for the fitness, I agree, especially in field and 3D. However, we are already speaking 10 years about that. So what I like to ask you, that you are voting in favor of this motion and that age limit is going out of the rules and that the judges committee can say if an archer or a judge is capable to do something. And I think can. Thank you very much.
I think the committee chair wants to address this matter as well.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'd like to be called deputy chair because, that's a position I have. Thank you, Tom, anyway. But the Judges Committee discussed this matter, and this is now the first time a motion or comments similar to this one have come to Congress. And we do reckon we have lost some very, very good judges in the last few years who have come to the age of 65. But we also understand that tournaments, archery tournaments, are more demanding on just archers and everyone. And we did not say in our reply that the judges who are over 65 are not fit or are something else, as Hank indicated. The idea is that for the time being, since we don't have tests that assess the judge's fitness, we need to have something that would allow the committee to decide who would be more fit to be on the field. And as far as we have it today, just the age limit. So the judges committee would not support the motion coming from Slovenia.
The President would like to address this matter.
Thank you, Tom. My dear friends, remember, some years ago we had reduced the age limit here during the Congress. In my opinion, we shouldn't turn back again. This is not a discrimination. On the other hand, we have very capable and new judge generation. They do their job very successfully. And we have to give them some more opportunity. Together with my colleagues from our executive board, we don't accept this motion. Thank you.
Okay, any further instances? Then I open the vote. Anyone has an issue with the voting? To be the case, then I'm going to close the vote. Motion fails, 45 no, 35 yes. Can I have the slides for the next motion? So, when we had the conference call with some of the members, I was asked the question if we could provide some data on barebow and longbow from some member associations. I contacted, well, first of all, the member association that put forward, which was Sweden, and asked them to provide information, and the information that is given here and which is on the screen shows that for Sweden in indoor, it is actually their biggest participation event. We also checked, and we talked here about barebow as such. Longbow is also a reasonably large population, but mainly barebow is their biggest event, and these are the numbers for 2018. And as far as I know, Kenneth, those numbers have been progressing up, correct? This is showing for 3 other countries. Again, barebow in indoor for Switzerland, Italy, and US, where we also see a growth in indoor for barebow. Longbow, it's difficult to get a lot of data at this moment. And for outdoor, we have very little data that was provided. So there was some information on from Sweden, where you see in outdoor situation is quite different, which I think can also be explained by the fact that outdoor they prefer to go and do 3D and field archery, shoot a 70 or 50 or whatever round they will be shooting as such. So there is the proposal from the board that we take a separate vote on indoor and outdoor. Because for indoor, we have clearly data on the situation, whereas for outdoor, a lot less is known. But before I do it, I should give the word to Sweden, which is the proposer of the motion. So Sweden, can we have the microphone to Sweden? Sorry? You're absolutely right. Sorry, Kenneth. Thank you for having me on the order. The amendment from Target Archery Committee is, and this would only apply now for outdoor, because we removed the Indoor World Championships, is that it would not be part of World Championships. The idea would be only to introduce it in our rules, meaning you would be able to shoot world records. Could in the second phase imagine that there would be target awards and things like that. So it's to recognize the discipline of barebow and longbow outdoor, but not as World Championship. That is the amendment as such. Now, I think we can take the vote on the amendment for outdoor first, and then we can open the discussion on the indoor and outdoor, depending if it's amended or not. Is that okay, Sweden? Okay. So, first, there is an opening of the vote. The amended motion, to amend the motion that it does not apply to World Championships. And that's the amendment Target Archery Committee. Is that clear to everyone? Or do I need to repeat it? I think I need to repeat it then, correct? So the amendment is, sorry? You have a problem with the machine? It's not open yet. I will open the vote now. So before you say it's not working, we haven't opened. Now it's open. Okay, I don't see any problem. We can close the vote. So the amendment has been accepted. So now I give the floor to Sweden to explain the situation.
Thank you. In Sweden, almost all beginners start with barebow. That's the reason we are good at it, I guess. About motion was about barebow to get it into target and indoor, and now it's added longbow, and of course we are happy about that also. But I'm not sure that we want to have the 18 meters 40 centimeters on longbow, because we use 18 meter 60 centimeters face on longbows, because the scores is rather low on the 40 centimeters face for longbow archers, and I don't think the Swedes will not be happy on that anyway. But maybe you have better longbows than we have. But of course, we would have the possibility to make world records here. The unofficial world record for males indoors is 5:77 for Erik Jonsson. And I think the Italian girl shoot 5:56 something in US this winter. I think that is unofficial world record. So we will do officially if you make this pass. Thank you.
Kenneth, did I understand you correctly that you would propose that we split it even further and that we would take a separate vote on barebow and longbow? Would that be something that you would propose?
I would like that we have barebow as The plan was 18 meter on 40 centimeters face as the normal 18 meter version. And I would have longbow in, of course, if that's accepted, as on 60 centimeters, or to make that is the committee to, some committee, target committee to decide which face they should shoot on.
Archery GB.
1 minute.
One moment, Thomas.
Tom, was longbow in the motion? I think I believe it said barebow, not longbow. Yeah, so in the title it says longbow, but in the motion it mentions barebow.
Mark? Yeah, it's correct. You're absolutely right, sorry. Yeah. The motion only talks about barebow. There was some comments. So, we're only talking about barebow. Forget longbow. If longbow, then it's another motion we need at the next Congress. So, we will then take first a decision, because under our rule book, outdoor is first in the rule book, and then we have indoor. So we will first have the amended motion for outdoor. Yes, that's the first vote. After we decide on outdoor, we will decide on indoor. Is that clear to everyone? Okay, so I open the vote for outdoor barebow. Okay, anyone has an issue? Doesn't seem to be the case. Then we can close the vote. And you have accepted outdoor barebow. Then we go to indoor. Can we have the vote for indoor? No, it's mentioned outdoor on the screen. Can we change it to indoor first? And there is an issue. The vote is closed. The vote is not open yet. Don't worry. Now it's indoor, and now we can open the vote. That's still a problem with GB apparently. Can someone come and have a look? Okay. Issue there is an issue over there with Peru. Not bad. Okay, then we can close the vote. and we have accepted 4 target archery in the discipline. Okay. Last motion. Binoculars only at arrow, we called it. It's a motion from Sweden, so as someone wants to address it.
Thank you. We want you to vote for the course. It's from our team, but I will not tell anything further. It's in the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, and I think Hannah, who's sitting behind, wants to address it as field committee.
Mr. President, Secretary General from the Congress, the Field and 3D Committee do not support this motion. We, as a committee, have discussed the issue of binoculars within field archery in some depth this year and have come up with a number of solutions as to how to prevent the perceived problems of ranging with binoculars. We've discussed those solutions with our colleague Athletes Committee and those colleagues on the Judges Committee to make sure that the solution that we came up with was one that was fair to all athletes, one that was enforceable and visible to the judges who have to watch those athletes. The solution we came up with was the one that was in the bylaw that was approved this morning, and therefore we would urge you to allow the judges and the field committee to that bylaw to take effect and to allow us to work with those keys for the foreseeable future to take those actions are deemed necessary against any archer and allow it to have the effect we wanted to do. The Field and 3D Committee would urge you not to support the law. Thank you.
Thank you. We see another hand up. Susan Womersley, World Archery Oceania.
Just for the benefit of Congress delegate, do you clarify what exactly that bylaw was? Because they were voted on, so people may not remember what you're referring to.
The bylaw that you voted on was to ensure that archers covered any marks or any tactile marks on their binoculars that could allow them to range. In this case, they can't then see anything or feel anything that could allow them to range. The Swedish bylaw that they proposed with no looking through binoculars until after the first arrow is shot prevents archers looking at the target to see the arrows are in there. It prevents them looking to see where the 11th ring is and creates a number of problems that we cannot avoid if the archers can't look through their binoculars. Hence the reason we now cover marks so that they can look through their binoculars, but it's harder, if not impossible, to find range with those binoculars.
Thank you. If further need for clarification, I think the position of yes. Binoculars being to look through to see closer by what happened with the arrows you shot, or to look at the target you're aiming, going to aim at. That's as far as I know. With the binoculars, it's a thing with two things.
Yeah.
It's not a monocular.
Monocular.
A monocular would, I would say, be considered as a binocular as well. I think it's in the rules we talk about binocular, but it doesn't have to be. It can be one as well. Correct, Hannah? Thank you. And I will search in Wikipedia what the exact definition of binoculars are. Thank you. Okay. Having said that, I think the position of Sweden was clear. The position of the field committee is also very clear. Further question or remark? Then we can open the vote being open. Okay, I think everyone has been able to vote. We can close the vote. You can close the vote. Okay, and the motion has been rejected. However, like I said, we will evaluate with the field committee and the judges committee on the impact of the bylaw and then maybe come back with other changes in the future. Since we accept the two proposals as motions, the motions and proposal section is finished. Just one more thing, except where we have clearly decided that it would come into effect immediately, which was two motions. All the other motions, we propose them to come into effect on the 15th of January rather than the 1st of April. The reason being that, first of all, we're a little bit tired of explaining that the rule book on the 1st of April is not an April's Fool joke. Okay? And that gives much more possibilities for our communication team to come with a really good April's Fool joke. And it gives a little bit more time for all of our members to communicate on rule changes before the outdoor season in the Northern Hemisphere or the indoor season in the Southern Hemisphere starts. Okay, so what we are proposing as date is the 15th of January, which gives that flexibility. Is that okay for everyone? Can we have a show of hands for the date of coming to effect? Thank you very much. Anyone against? Abstentions? So there goes the Christmas holidays of our internet and rulebook team, but we will have it ready by the 15th of January. Thank you. Mr. President, that concludes the motions and proposal, and I thank everyone for their cooperation on doing this in a very smooth way. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, my friends. Now you deserve a coffee break. and let's meet again at 4:15, please.
C'est pas compris, c'est pas passé.